All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to season 2 of My New Normal podcast. We're excited to have the host of season 1 with us, and I'm Dr. Megan with Movement RX.
I'm Piikea with Movement RX as well, and the Adaptive Strength and Conditioning course at CrossFit 1904.
So we are going to be the new hosts for season 2, but to kick off this new season, we're going to be interviewing Dr. T to see how things have been going in life since season 1 and what all has been going on. But before we get started, we want to talk about some of the exciting things that have been going on. So one, we have an adaptive course, an adaptive strength and conditioning class through the VA that is happening every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10:30 to 11:30, and it is free for veterans with disabilities to come. And we'll talk a little bit more about it at the end, but we're really excited to have that program available for everybody. And again, we'll kind of talk more about it throughout the episode because that's a really exciting thing that's been going on at Movement RX in the last few months. And we want to thank one of our sponsors, Highlead. We have a discount code available for you guys. So Highlead is an awesome performance clothing brand that we all personally love and wear all the time. So we're really excited about this partnership with them. So the discount code is NewNormal40, and we'll put all of this in the show notes too, so that way you can head over to their website and get some awesome gear. Nice. To kick it off, this is not Highlead stuff. But now that you bring it up, what's this outfit about?
Well, it is Halloween.
Is it?
Yeah.
This isn't just your normal Thursday attire.
No, this is my little one, Magnus, calls me the Queen. This is Queen gear. But it's supposed to be Aphrodite. That's the actual costume, but I like Queen better.
Queen Aphrodite.
That's right. This morning I actually wore a shark hat too. One of my friends, we were at the Warrior Surf Clinic, and he was wearing a shark hat, and then Magnus wanted me to put it on so we could teach Mom. We could sing the song Mommy Shark.
And what's Magnus's costume?
A little fireman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's got his little fire truck, his little pumpkin bucket, and his little fire hat, which he wants to wear sometimes and then sometimes doesn't. So
what are y'all doing tonight for Halloween? Going trick-or-treating?
Well, it's his first Halloween, actually. Like, we're going to go trick-or-treating with his friend Franco.
Awesome.
Franco is going as maybe Minnie Mouse, maybe half Minnie Mouse, half a turtle. We'll see.
Franco couldn't decide.
Yeah, Franco decide. That's usually how it works with a toddler. And we're going to go in the neighborhood. We live in kind of South Park, North Park area in San Diego. So it's a nice little kid-friendly area.
It should be so
We'll
much
see how
fun.
long they last.
Yeah.
And then we'll eat all the candy afterwards.
So, Theresa, what are you up to in your life? What's going on besides being the Queen Aphrodite?
I know, sitting on a throne here in the lobby of Movement RX. Well, there's a lot. I'm very excited that we're kicking off season 2, and you two are actually the hosts. I think it's like the perfect pairing to take on this new season, because the theme of no human left behind is, I think, can span any group of people, any community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a podcast like this, it needs to have people who are hosting who get it. And I really, so I think a big thing that's going on in my life is the fact that you two are kind of taking this over and becoming the voices of it as we move forward, because it really will open up the doors for the people. I mean, there's people who like to watch YouTube, there's people who like to look on social media, and then there's people who like to listen to podcasts. And I think the voices that you both bring to the table will help get a lot of people into classes, as well as give them knowledge of how to find their new normal. And ultimately, it's giving, I think, the exciting thing about the podcast and the work that we're doing, and we can talk a bit more about this VA stuff, but is that we're giving people skills to take care of themselves and kind of get out of their own way. So it's instead of relying on someone else to do it for them, they can do it on their own. So there's a lot of things going on, but that's I think the most exciting is that this is happening again, and that this veteran, the VA, is actually acknowledging our functional fitness program as something that's important for adaptive athletes, those with disabilities. We like to use the term adaptive but then veterans with disabilities who, don't really know what's next after rehab or going through the VA care system. It's like, well, what community is really going to support me? Or what can I do that's going to keep my body and mind healthy?
Sure. Maybe even how do I find community?
Right. Yes. So I think that this program is a good start. And I was just at the surf clinic this morning, and they've been doing it for 11 years. And they've just started doing research recently. And it's now like VAs across the country close to water are advising on people doing going surfing for part of their care, which is pretty cool. Like, that's very innovative.
Oh.
So one day it'll be this as well.
Yeah, that's exciting. So what are some other components of the program? So aside from the adaptive strength and conditioning course, tell us about some of the other pieces of this VA program.
Well, so the other components to it it involves the classes here, but it involves a train the trainer course too, which is going to be taught. I'm basically going to go around to 5 locations this year, between this year and next, and teach other health professionals who work with veterans and or veterans themselves on, there's basically 4 modules that we teach, which is on wheelchair, how to move when you're in a wheelchair. What does that look like? How do you squat, hinge, push, pull, carry? Those with missing limbs, upper extremity, lower extremity. So there's a lower extremity, upper extremity module, and then there's an invisible wound kind of neurologic module, which is a lot of the wounds coming out of war now, more invisible. So the mild traumatic brain injury, where you see migraine, balance issues, kind of attention deficit type things. And then those with just chronic depression, anxiety, things like that. Like, those are all things that we'll be teaching about how a health professional, they're very knowledgeable in their space. Like, how do they know that being in a functional fitness environment is going to be healthy for their patients? And so teaching them like how functional fitness works and how we do it every day, and that could be quite possibly one of the most powerful things their patients can do post rehab. So it's teaching the health professional, one, how to stay healthy themselves, right? Because people, in order to know what abnormal movement looks like, they need to know what normal movement looks like, normal, right? And so I think the courses will shed light on the health professional and the athlete themselves, but also if they want to train and advise other people in their community how to do that.
What a nice opportunity, because there are so many coaches who have just the best intention to do well, but without the tools or the resources or knowing what it looks like, it's really difficult to just get in there and do the work.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's, scary for a lot of coaches maybe who don't have as much knowledge. They're not PTs or OTs. Right. And it's like, well, they don't want to do more harm, but they don't realize that most of the athletes that are going to be coming to them, coming and training in a fitness facility will most likely be done with rehab. They'll be on their way out, and that you can't really do more harm. I mean, there's things you want to ask, right, for certain kinds of athletes, but it's just being an aware coach will help you work with an adaptive athlete. Just being aware of your surroundings and like other humans, and, a human coming in who's kind of feeling down and out. Well, you might want to pay a little special attention to them. Or when in a wheelchair, you might want to ask, do you have to use the bathroom? Like things like that. But it's showing the health professional and the coach too, who's considered a health professional too, is like that it's okay. They're not going to do no harm. Like it's good to not want to do more harm, but the fact is they're not going to hurt them more, especially if they follow these principles that we're teaching. So
yeah, I think that's a really exciting thing about this is not just that we have the class available here, because I think sometimes with people listening, it's like, well, that's cool that you have that program, but I'm not in San Diego. Yes. So the fact that this season is going to be somewhat focused on talking to coaches and people who are working with adaptive athletes, and it helps give other coaches an idea of how to get involved and how to start feeling more confident in working with athletes with that need special adaptations in their workouts. And then the fact that we're going to be rolling out these train the trainer courses, that way it's going to be available all around the country. So we're excited as we get, dates and places finalized.
Yes.
For those that are interested in working with adaptive athletes but don't know how to get started, one, this podcast is an awesome front to be able to bring that awareness and talking about that, but then, you know, being able to actually bring this course around the country to help teach people how to work with athletes with needs.
It's an exciting thing, and I think it's been nice to, I mean, working with the VA can be hit or miss, right? The VA is on the medical side of things, can be very much behind the times, and it's just overrun with patients. So the wait time to go to physical therapy is pretty high, which is why they have now community support. Like our company is now a support for veterans. Mental health, there's not enough mental health professionals in the community to serve the veterans now. It's like there's just so much of a need. And so being able to advise on like the surf clinic, right, or a functional fitness community where people are there with similar things going on and sharing, right? There's a huge power in, I mean, sweating too and getting after it, but also sharing. Right? It's not just like, I mean, I think the first time I really started to be vulnerable in my life was around with the adaptive athlete class that I was teaching like 5 years ago, when I first shared. And here I am teaching these men and women who have these physical impairments and some emotional. And then I finally shared my story, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, thank you. Now I feel like I can relate to you more." And, you know, I've had my own mental health issues, and it really wasn't much of a thing, but I felt like very much included then, finally, after sharing. So I think there is a tremendous benefit to the movement health that we're going to be helping people with. And I like to say that it's kind of a starting point for health professionals and athletes themselves. We're not trying to make them super uber competitive. If they want to do that, fine, but this is a starting point for them. And but the other component is like, it's going to be a community that health professionals can create, fitness professionals, to provide that sharing environment of, you have a tribe again. Like there's a tribe feel, and everyone knows each other's stories a little bit and what they're going through, and can support each other. So.
I think that's great, and I'd love to see how it brings such a sense of inclusion too, so that when a coach is with athletes, the class isn't divided. There's a cohesiveness that happens, and I think a lot of these tools will definitely help to help that out a lot. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so it'll be exciting to see. I mean, the adaptive movement is becoming more real, and there's Challenge Athlete Foundation is a great organization that supports, and they have a veteran section, Operation Rebound, that they support giving equipment to athletes who need a new wheelchair or a new leg, or, you know, something for their sport. And they're very big in the high school communities now. And then there's adaptive CrossFit, right, which is another on the other end of the spectrum, where making functional fitness much more competitive, which is also great, right, if people want that. But there's a huge group of people who are just like getting out of care, you know, acute, subacute care, that this end of the spectrum of CrossFit's a little too much. Doing a Paralympic sport is like, yeah, no.
Right.
I just want to be like healthy in my daily life and pick up my kids and like be able to move and have healthy joints for the rest of my life. Like that's kind of the parts of society that we care about and want to embrace with this. The most.
So what would you say your new normal is these days, with this program rolling out and you have a lot of other stuff going on and a busy toddler at home? So from last season, what's your new normal?
Well, it was, I feel like the new normals, and this comes up a lot in the interviews I've done, is there's a new normal almost every day sometimes. But I think the biggest thing, doing season 1 was a great learning experience of just the power of podcasting, what it can be, and getting to have some really intimate conversations with people, conversations I've wanted to have that you just can't just have in passing. I wouldn't say, you know, podcasting isn't something, I don't always listen to them. I like audiobooks a little bit better, but I do see the power in it, because I've done enough interviews now where I'm like, it just, people's stories, like people love to listen to stories when they're on their commute. And I'm like, okay, so that was a really awesome experience for me. And then once the season ended, I mean, and in conjunction with that, like with Movement RX, we're very much focusing on our corporate work because we do see like this whole concept of healthcare. Like healthcare is in a fitness environment. Healthcare is in the workplace. Mm-hmm. And instead of thinking of healthcare as like you have to go to a medical clinic, right, and get treated, like we're working to bring healthcare to the people and empowering the people. And with Movement RX and all of the digital work that we built, it's like we didn't really know what to do with it at the beginning. And now it's very much based on people who we've seen us do such a good job with it. We realize if we're going to really impact communities, we have to go into the communities and change them. So into the businesses. Mm-hmm. And so we've been working a lot on that. And then more with veterans and military, like really a big push to work in the more of the defense space, like the Navy and Air National Guard and Army at the moment. And it's been kind of fun in the last year to Movement RX has kind of worked solely by itself for a long time with a couple partnerships with gyms and stuff, but you know, those tend to fizzle out over time. But we have really looked at working with larger companies with larger reaches to be able to make a bigger impact together. Because this whole concept of community keeps coming up, and it's like, yeah, we can see people here in San Diego, but if we really want to make an impact on the rest of the country and world, like who is in the space that we also want to be in? Like what companies could really utilize our work and vice versa, and team up and make an impact. So it's been really cool to kind of pursue talking to really large companies about impacting the world together. And so I found myself doing a lot of like uncomfortable, having a lot of, am I really doing this kind of conversations, but in the end, very empowering to be like, this is what making a difference is about. And like it's not just through one source. It's not just through podcasts. It's through online podcasts, you know, collaborating with other companies, working with you both, talking to coaches, talking to, you know, HR directors on what they feel they need, working at conferences. Mm-hmm. Like, so it's been I think the last year, a big eye opener for me to finally feel even though there's a lot going on, very focused mm-hmm. on this is the mission of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And here are the different channels of how we're distributing that mission. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. How do you deal with the challenges that arise in doing so many great new initiatives at once?
Especially the kid.
Yeah. And then a child on top of that.
Well, I do have my breakdowns. Like this is the new normal, right? So I do, you know, I'd be lying to you if I feel like at times I'm like, this is too hard, or
sure,
how am I going to do this as a mom, you know, and I want another child. And, but I am more and more aware that this is what impact is about. If you really want to make a difference, like it's just not going to be easy. And there's a lot of no's, and I can't let anything stop me, right? So that means that with a child, potentially sometimes it might feel like I don't want to not be present to him. So I don't want to not be present at work. And am I that way all the time? No. Like there are times I'm definitely not present, but when I'm home with him, like this morning I spent all morning with him at the surf clinic, running around, fire hat, you know, chasing people, eating bananas. And I was like, that was
chasing the fireman.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool to just have that focused time. And at the end of the day, focused time with him. And then when I'm at work, focused time, like really practicing the art of being present, because you can get a lot accomplished when you are present. But I do know that it just, nothing like the no's, the sick days, the times when I just feel like I can't do it, I don't have the energy, that's just all part of the process. And I don't want any of that to stop me, because it's easy mm-hmm. to want to, I think that word stopped is a big one, because I've just been more aware. And when I look around, it's like what happens when you get an email that doesn't go your way, or a phone call that doesn't go your way, or, you get a, like, yeah, that's nice, but that's not going to work for us. Or the messages that you tell yourself in your head, right? Like, I'm not good enough, or like all the tapes that we can tell ourselves. And it's like, how often have we let those things stop us when really it's just there. That's just part of the journey, and you just keep going. Right. And like, I'm reading this book, The Notorious RBG, and she's like, I just like to be deaf sometimes. I just don't listen. Like, that's great advice. Sometimes you just have to be deaf.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I remember when you came to the adaptive class last week and you were sharing with the athletes this idea of being unstoppable. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because that was very powerful, and they loved hearing about that.
Yeah, I think that I've been more aware in my life, like what can stop me, like my actions that can stop me. Like, and I think there's this quote I like, and I don't know who said it, but in order to be unstoppable, you have to know what it's like to be stopped. Right? So look at times in your life. Like, I like to journal. So I've like reflected on times in my life when I've been stopped. Whether it's a family tiff, right? Or a way of thinking, like, I'm not going to go talk to that business owner because I'm just not good enough, right? Or whatever it is. It's like, well, I didn't make that team, so I'm not good enough to play this sport, clearly. Whatever it is. Or it could be a text message. It sounds so ridiculous, but like, that person didn't respond. Right? If you think of like the millennial generation, the younger generation now, or times when that business relationship didn't work out. But that's when you really take a look at it, like, really, is that stopping you? Like, that's you want this thing, right? You want to impact the world and give them, for me, knowledge and tools. Or Movement RX, knowledge and tools would be physically free through, programs and teachings. And that's anyone. Like, I'm going to let that relationship or that communication stop me. And when you really take a step back, you're like, no, there's no way. And you just stop. So when you do that, you stop attaching meaning to things. Like, why attach meaning to someone that said no? It's just a no. There's other people that are going to say yes. Or why attach meaning to that lack of response? It's just a lack of response, and people have lives, and you can't take these things personally. But when you start to like really practice that, like, you get the energy of, oh my gosh, that just happened. And you take a step back and look at the bigger impact you're after. Nothing's going to stop you, especially if you have your eye on the prize. And when you do have your eye on the prize, like, all of those things are kind of like, yeah, well, I should expect that. Like, okay, that person just not meant to be. There's no meaning around it. Just not meant to be right now. Keep going. Right? Or there could be another way you educate that person. But I think that's like a really powerful way of being. And the more I learn about communication and being with people and talking to people and kind of enrolling them, right, in their life, but also in opportunities for them in what we're doing, it's like, you realize so much of life can stop you if you let it. And I have been stopped before. Like, the Marine Corps, I think having an eating disorder, just, that's a big one, right? But like, that stopped me from being able to live out a potential as a Marine officer. Now I get to give back in other ways, and it definitely was a gift in a lot of ways, but that stopped me for a period of my life. Or, communication I had with my brother, right, that stopped me for years of having like committed conversations to him, right? When you really like put yourself in someone else's world, especially family and friends, when you really put yourself in their world and take the spotlight off of what they're not doing for you, it makes it really kind of turns the table, and like, you realize, wow, that person's amazing. And here I am just thinking only about myself when they are just working to survive, right? As a parent, as a business owner, and now I get it. Versus, and I think that's really a good message for everyone. Just take a step back when there's a conflict, to say, what's it like for you, that person, right? To feel shut out, or to feel not heard or not loved. Potentially, you're going to get that kind of answer, and you realize, wow, you're probably feeling the same way. And if you can as the leader, take the step and ask, then it can open up a whole new world that you never thought possible. That's what I've been finding.
I think the other piece of that too is when you get stopped, it's easy to then feel like you don't want to move forward, almost this like paralysis and fear moving forward. And I know for me personally, and I think a lot of people, that we kind of get hung up on those challenges when, things are changing in life and we hit those challenges. It kind of makes us fearful of moving forward. But I think focusing on putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and taking a step back and looking at it that way, but also look at the things that are going right, no matter how small those little wins and those little successes. So when you've hit those hiccups and those challenges, what have been some of the successes or the positive things that you've looked at over the last year that help keep you going and moving forward, or even some of the goals that are positives for you? What are some of those
bright spots?
Yeah. So there's so many bright spots. It's like just seeing Magnus, right? Like starting to walk and become his own little person is a joy. Like he's now asking me questions about my day and how I'm feeling and how I should be wearing a helmet. And it's like, yes, I should. And all of the like potty experiences right now are pretty fun-ish. But no, the bright spots are the fact that we are building something. I think when I take a look back and I look at our team, like I'm very honored to be able to work with the people I do, because I feel very comfortable and confident with everyone, and that their belief in the vision too, which is a huge bright spot. It's like makes going to work fun and just more like, okay, there's no pulling teeth or having to convince of this vision, right, of creating tools and knowledge that can help people be physically free, whether it's digital or in person. Like everyone's kind of bought into that, not kind of is bought into that. So that's a huge bright spot. And then just some of the relationships, like this topic of like talking to these companies, right, who are fairly large, and I'm asking them to do these big things like, hey, would you like to partner so we can grow this veteran network? Or would you like to partner to be able to host our programs on your platform to reach more people? And we've gotten, I think maybe one, not right now, but all of these companies that we've spoken to are very much bought into this. And in particular, one very fun project is it's a veteran online program that our company will create for a platform called EverFi. And it's in the works, but it's EverFi is a large online company. They do a lot of online education. They teach kids about financial wellness. They offer like anti-bullying. They do anti-bullying campaigns, opioid addiction. They teach on opioid addiction, alcoholism to college students. And they're just a really, they serve community society where it needs to be served the most. And so we pitched this veteran initiative to them, and they're into it. And it's been fun to just kind of slowly work on that with them and see what it will look like. I mean, this is a company that's, quite large and has a big backing of supporters, and to be able to leverage our clinical knowledge, right? And then we can leverage their platform. I mean, it's just going to be remarkable who we can impact. And with that has come like some media attention and this production company that makes veteran films, and their initial interest in wanting to make a veteran film out of this project, or on women heroes, right? Women who are in executive roles, veteran roles, fitness roles, who kind of the quiet warriors who, stuff going on, but no, in society they look like, well, they could do no wrong kind of thing. But there is always stuff going on with people. Everyone struggles. It's just that I think women in our society, and this is kind of a side note, I mean, it does kind of go into the veteran initiative, because with this production company I'm talking to, it's like high functioning women veterans are kind of like, yeah, you're good to go. We don't need to focus on you. And really it's like, no, there's a need, women's health, mental health, family health. I mean, women do a lot in society where there's kind of this underlying expectation of being in the home, being it all in the home and then being it all at work. Not all families are run like that. That's not a healthy way to be, but that is kind of the expectation. And then we're also seen as the weaker sex. So it'd be really impactful to show a film of the life behind the scenes of some of these women. Mm-hmm. So anyway, like all of this stuff has come from just asking a question and bringing up this and like kind of enrolling this company. And to be honest, I have no idea if this whole project will happen with the company or with another one, but it's rolling, right? And it's like
it's a way
to leverage, Movement RX, and it's the clinical knowledge we have with a company that's got a want and a need to reach this small community. Well, not small, like 18 million veterans in America, right. But it's just a start, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that's a bright light. And just like family stuff is always a bright light, because it's like the natural transition to the end of the day is family time. Mm-hmm. So
right. Oh, nice. So if you can offer an RX or a prescription to people who are working through their new normal and finding their new normal, what would you say? What would you offer? What would you suggest?
Well, I would suggest that there are so many resources out there, but it's sometimes hard to find and know where to trust. So my suggestion would be to create a morning routine for yourself. And I like to start with movement in the day, and it could be just breath movement, because that is something that will help get that motivation hormone like dopamine, serotonin going in your body, in your mind, and instead of waiting to be motivated to do something, it's like wake up and you have this little routine that you do, and it gets you started for your day. And I think for people, if they're to take away something that they could do today with this interview, would be wake up a little early, like maybe 20 to 30 minutes early, and give yourself a chance to just do some deep breathing, like literally like a 4-second inhale and a 4 to 8-second exhale, and do that for 10 minutes and just focus on that. Mm-hmm. Maybe listen to a good book after that, right? Like for a little bit, and write, and then get up and do your day, right? Do your day. And functional movement, I'd always advise people to add that into their day. Maybe it's a lunchtime routine, 20 minutes, or after work with your family. Like make movement a movement practice part of your week. I don't work out every day. Like movement, functional fitness isn't part of my every single day, but it is 3 days a week minimum. Mm-hmm. And so I would advise 3 to 4 days a week for people to just go out and squat, hinge, push, pull, carry, even if it's just their body weight, right? Going for a walk and stopping at the park and doing some squats, right? Or doing some push-ups, or, everyone, you cannot deny the fact that that's motivating, right? And that'll motivate anyone. Even if you feel like you can't do it, like there's always ways to like look on YouTube, the ways to modify or adapt, right? I wouldn't say adapt is definitely mainstream knowledge, but modifying a push-up or modifying a squat to your needs. Mm-hmm. So it's the movement practice, though, that will keep people feeling confident with being able to get out into the world. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of my methodology, is like you think of a wheel, like movement is the hub of that wheel. And then like we have to get up in the morning, right? You feeling low? I've definitely been there. I don't want to get out of bed. Mm-hmm. So you just get up and you start moving. Right? You move your body, you go out and get some fresh air. And typically whatever was making you feel that way, whatever you let make you feel that way, right? You can, that will go away over time if you just keep moving forward in your life. So it's the movement is the hub, and then you've got the mindset and all of the systems that are around movement and that are all impacted by movement. So when I don't feel great, it's not like I'm going to go just kick my ass in the gym. I'm going to just go for a walk and do some breath work, right? Or if I'm feeling, if I feel more energetic and I can make the time, which I do 3 days a week, like, okay, now I'm going to do a workout. and nothing's going to get in the way. Typically things used to get in the way of my workouts, but I've learned to like schedule it into my day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest thing, is not everyone has to want to, strength train, but just find a movement practice you love, do that consistently during your week, and have a small morning routine that gets you moving into your day with positive energy.
I think that's such a good message. I hear from a lot of people. I don't want to start moving until I'm perfect at it.
Yeah, well, there's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
So I'll leave everyone with this too, and I think this is a powerful message, is that, yeah, the someday will never happen. Like, life is not someday, it's now. Like, the only thing we have that we can grab onto is like right here, right? It's the someday is this hypothetical thing that, when your kids grow up, you're gonna start getting in shape. When you're feeling better about your body, then you'll go shopping. That you hear that all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or like, I'm not going to ask for help until I feel better. Well, that makes no sense. Like, that's what help is for, like, to help you during this time of need.
Mm-hmm.
But it's whenever I come back to, if I like the life is just right now, like, why wait?
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something, I'm going to do it within my means, and I think that's a powerful message, because when you really think about it, how much do you actually tell yourself, yeah, I'll do that someday.
Mm-hmm.
And then that job and that life you've wanted is not ever going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, when you're retired, you're like, damn it, I should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, and I do think about that, because I've lost, both my parents are gone, and I've had friends who I see them working away and just, they want more. And it's like, that doesn't have to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can make those, it doesn't have to be this huge change, but subtle changes starting now. And that's what I would say, is nobody is really looking at you like you are looking at yourself. So go and do what you want to do, what you need to do now.
Man, what a powerful thing to end on.
Yeah. Boom.
Now move.
Now we got to get up and move. Yeah.
Well, and thanks so much for coming on and for trusting us to pass on season 2.
I'm very excited to see. There's going to be some wonderful guests on, and I couldn't think of 2 more perfect hostesses. So,
well, again, thanks for joining us. And for you guys at home or in the car or wherever you're listening or watching, be sure to check us out. You can see what Movement RX is about at movement-rx.com. If you're interested in maybe doing a virtual consultation with us, we do have that option available. If you're like, I want to get started, I want to get moving, but I don't know where to start, or maybe you're having pain or having problems and you're fearful of getting started with some of this functional fitness or movements that we've talked about, and you just don't even know where to start. We have online consultations available to you that we can help you get that process started and work through things with you. So we're really excited to have those virtual sessions available, and you can check out, again, movement-rx.com to learn more about that, or email us at getbetter@movement-rx.com. Again, thank you to our sponsor, High Leap. Again, that partnership is so exciting. Seriously, I want to go shopping with them right now. So New Normal 40 is the discount code. And all of these things will be in the show notes of where to find us at Movement RX's website, and how to get in contact with us if you have any questions or want to do a consultation.
All right.
And don't forget, we have also our disabled veterans class or adaptive athletes class at CrossFit 1904 on Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays from 10:30 to 11:30. If you are in the San Diego area and it's something that you are interested in, please reach out to us. What's the best way for them to reach out?
So again, get better at movement-rx.com, and that'll be in the show notes. So just shoot us a message that you want to join us, and we'll tell you how to get set up, and join us as soon as you can.
All right.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.